Hey guys, welcome back to our VCP 6.5 ICM hands-on training. This is lab 12 in the series. In this lab, we'll go ahead and work with the virtual machine, try to change or modify some of the virtual machine properties, and we will see what happens, when you change some of these settings. This is the high-level objective that we plan to cover in this lab. We will go ahead and see how can you increase the size of an existing VMDK. Let's say when you created a VM, initially you specified some value for your VMDK, but later on you decide that you need to increase the size of a VMDK. We'll see how we can do that. We'll also go and take a look at how we can go ahead and change the memory allocation of a VM. At the same time, we'll go ahead and take a look and we'll try to rename a VM within the vCenter inventory. Last but not the least, we will go ahead and provide direct access to one of our LUNs from our iSCSI storage directly onto a VM. So far in the previous labs, you have seen that we have mounted those LUNs as a VMFS data stores onto our ESXi, and from that we have carved out VMDKs, and those VMDKs we have assigned to the VM. But in this case, we will be providing a direct access to that LUN directly to our VM. So let's jump directly onto the hands-on and we'll go ahead and take a look from there. So I have logged into our vSphere web client, and let's go to the host and clusters. Within the host and cluster, we have a couple of hosts and we have a couple of the VMs. So if I go back to our VM and templates view, we have a couple of VMs, and the VM that we are working is the VM2. So now let's go ahead and do an edit setting on the VM2. So you can go ahead and right click on VM2. There is an option that says edit setting, or from the getting started page, we have the option that says edit virtual machine setting. So now let's go ahead and edit the setting of this virtual machine. And as you can see, these are some of the properties of virtual machine. And right now, if you take a look at the size of the hard disk on this virtual machine is 32 gig. And let's say for some reason we are running out of space on this hard disk, or we need to increase the size of this hard drive, we can go ahead and do that by just simply going to so let's go ahead and increase the size of our disk from 32 gig. Let me go ahead and change it to 40 gig. So once the changes are being done, just simply go ahead and click on OK here. And once the changes are done, we should have these options back. Now let's go ahead and open the console for this VM, and we will see, can we see that increased extra space on our VM or not. So let me go ahead and open a console on this particular VM. Now we are within the console. Now let's go ahead and click on start, and let's go to the computer and right click on your computer, and there are a couple of the options here, and let's go ahead and click on the manage being one of the options. So now once we click on the manage, we are inside the computer management console. So within this management console, now we can go ahead and on the left hand pan we have storage. Under storage we can go ahead and click on disk management. So right now if you click on the disk management, we are being presented with the disk information, and if you can see, our existing disk was of 32 gig capacity. That's why it says 3190. Now we had made some changes onto the VM. Now let's simply go ahead and right click on the disk management, and there is an option that says rescan disk. So now let's go ahead and click on rescan disk. Now the disk rescan is in progress, and as expected, now the system Windows is reporting, okay, hey, we have an extra 8 gig of unallocated space, and that's the reason why we see 8 gigs extra, because on the VM we had changed the capacity from 32 gig to the 40 gig. Now we can go ahead and make use of this space, and we can go ahead and extend our existing C drive by extra another 8 gig that we've entered and assigned. So we can right click on this one, and we can create a new volume of its alone if you want, or if you want to extend your C drive, you can come back to the C drive, and on the C drive there are a couple of the option, and one of the option being extend volume. So now we will go ahead and increase the size of the C drive by this extra 8 gig. So I will go ahead and create an extend volume. If you don't want to extend C drive, or if you just want to create another drive of 8 gig, you can go ahead and simply right click and do new volume. So let's go ahead and do an extend volume quickly here. So we are being presented with the extend volume wizard. In the next, let's go ahead and simply click next here. Now it says, okay, hey, the selected is 8 gig. So the total capacity will become to 40 gig. That's what we need. Now just simply go ahead and hit next here, and we will go ahead and click on finish. And it'll be a few seconds, and as you can see, now our C drive, the capacity was increased from 32 gig to the 40 gig. And that's pretty easy. If you ever run out of a space on your C drive, or you need to increase the size of your C partition, you can always go ahead and increase the amount of a disk space or the VMDK on your VM, and go under disk management, and you can make use of the extend functionality and go ahead and extend the size of your C drive. Now let me go ahead and close the computer management, and I will come out from our console, And let me go ahead and power off this virtual machine, because we will go ahead and change the memory allocation on this virtual machine. So now once the VM is powered off, we can go back and click on edit settings. Within the edit setting right now, if you see, the amount of memory that is being allocated to this VM is 8 gig. To change the memory allocation is very simple. Just change the units to whatever, if you like MB or gigabytes. And within the memory, if you expand, we have few more options. If you want to reserve certain amount of memory, you can go ahead and provide that reservation. If you want to configure number of limits and shares, you can go ahead and do that. So in this case, let me go ahead and change the amount of memory from 8 gig to 16 gig on this VM. Once the changes are done, just simply go ahead and click OK here. The VM's memory allocation was changed from 8 gig to 16 gig. If you need to confirm, you can come back to the summary tab. I'll show you some of the information, or you can always go ahead and do an edit settings just to confirm that our changes were applied successfully or not. And as you can see, the memory being reflected right now is 16 gig. And that's pretty easy to increase. And on the similar way, you can increase the number of CPU or memory. We just work with the disk and all.